Hello everyone, I'm Georgia and this is The Sound of Georgia. Somebody requested a video about Sound of Music deleted scenes, so ask and you shall receive, especially with Sound of Music, because Sound of Music is actually kind of a hard topic to make videos about. There actually aren't too many deleted scenes in The Sound of Music, and most of them, at least the ones I could find from what I remember and flicking through this giant thing, most of them don't have any dialogue. And hey, as I said, this thing is enormous, so I might have missed some. I've definitely got all the ones I'd heard of before, but if I missed any there can be a separate video. There are a few scenes that were definitely cut short, but that's not quite the same thing as a deleted scene, and we'll talk about them in a minute. But now let's talk about deleted. The first one I could find takes place right between these two moments. And here's the picture from the deleted scene. Yes, there's at least one picture for each of the deleted scenes that I'm talking about today, which is how I knew they existed. But that's pretty much all it is. Here it is in the script, and there's a little short scene afterwards where Maria and Sister Margareta are walking over to the Reverend Mother's office. But really, just looking at that picture tells you everything about the deleted scene. Honestly, when I first saw it, I wasn't sure if it took place before this moment or right before Climb Every Mountain. The next one takes place right in the middle of Do Re Mi, right after this scene, and it is probably the most well known because we have more than one picture and there's dialogue, and quite a bit of it actually. See, there's 3 pictures and I've got 3 pictures from the script. Basically, Liesl runs into Rolf where they're gallivanting over town, and she asks him if he wanted to join them for their picnic. He says no. And you could say it's the very beginning of the downward trajectory of their relationship. This one is kind of reminiscent of the scene in the musical right after 16 Going on 17 reprise, in that Maria actually meets Rolf. Now 16 Going on 17 reprise is much stronger in the film because Rolf has already broken up with Liesl. But in the musical, a scene similar to this, in that Maria actually meets Rolf, happens, and that's when he's revealed to be in league with the Nazis in a very, very obvious way. Honestly, the musical isn't too good with subtlety most of the time. Now this next one is very, very tiny, and I don't actually have a picture of it, so this one was a bit of a surprise. This one is also in the middle of Do Re Mi, and the fact that these two are smack bang in the middle of Do Re Mi kind of explains why they were cut. Because Do Re Mi is a montage, and adding scenes like this in would just break up the flow and wouldn't work. There's the dialogue for this tiny one. I couldn't find a photo. But then how would you know? I don't know if a photo from this one would look all that different from a photo from what you actually get in the film. Now the next one takes place right after the evening with the Lonely Goat Herd and Edelweiss. And here's the picture. According to the script, we get to see the captain thinking about this as well, but like the first one we talked about, it's so small, and because there's no dialogue, that photo pretty much captures all of it. And they were pretty much the only strictly deleted scenes I could find. Honestly, I'm not sad that any of these didn't make it. The only real one with any dialogue is the one with Liesl and Rolf. But I really don't care too much about Liesl and Rolf's relationship to begin with. Or honestly, either of them too much as characters. No, that's not true. I love Liesl, but Liesl's one of the children. And the children are one 7-part character, I've said it before. I'm here for these guys. So yeah, honestly, I'm not sad that any of these little scenes got cut. The only one I didn't know that I talked about was the one that I didn't have a picture of. That one's just a little weird. Not sorry that the others didn't make it. Obviously, I've talked about the one with Liesl and Rolf. But I'm not sorry the other 2 didn't make it. Just looking at these 2 photos of Julie is all I need to know. The movie is incredibly long as it is. It's 2 hours and 47 minutes. Yes, I've counted. I don't know why most places say it's 2 hours and 54 minutes. I have counted when I watched the DVD in the past. It's 2 hours and 47 minutes. But even though the movie's that long, every scene counts. Maybe you you could have tightened certain scenes up a little bit, but not really, I don't think so. Deleted scenes by their very nature are superfluous. And I've talked about it so many times, but the movie is just so much better than the musical in terms of the script and how it's structured. Thank goodness for Anna Flayman. And honestly, I could see these scenes in the musical version. Heck, I'm pretty sure I've seen one like this. I mean, this moment in ITV Live, while it is much shorter and it's only Maria in that scene, does have a bit of a similarity to this moment. And as I said, the scene in the middle of Do Re Mi with Maria and Liesl and Rob does have a few similarities to the scene right after 16 going on 17 reprise in the musical. These scenes are far more like something that would come out of the musical than they are in the film, and I think that shows why they were cut, because of the ways the film is different from the show. So now that we've covered those few deleted scenes, let's talk about some of the scenes that had parts acts. Some of the scenes where they cut them shorter, but didn't delete them entirely. The children said a bit more. Right before the Ländler, right at the very, very beginning of the Ländler, the dialogue is directly from the musical. And while the final dialogue isn't that dissimilar, it is definitely slightly better. But then, there is this one, and I was actually very surprised to find this one in the script. Originally there was a line that is not only not in the film, but I haven't even heard in the musical. Except for one.
I like the kindness in his eyes. I like the way he speaks even when he's stern. I like the way he smiles at little Gretel.
Yes, that line was in the original script of the movie, and having seen it in the original script of the movie, because even for the scenes that didn't get cut, there are actually a few differences in this. Having seen that line only in the NBC version, and not in any other production of the musical I have seen, it makes me wonder whether that particular production, whether NBC just took that line from the original movie script. Now, I absolutely love that line. It's so much better than all the other versions of the musical where she just says yes. Because with this one, she's saying she loves him without saying she loves him. Now that part being in NBC is the only time I have seen that in any production of the musical, and it is the only thing different. In all the other productions, that line is the only thing that is changed. The rest of the scene is always the same. So the original script of the musical is not the same as the movie. So that's why it was changed. I know personally I would have loved to have been able to see Julie say this line and not have my only point of reference be Carrie. Then there were tiny little moments like this, right after Zella catches them. Now most of these aren't taken from the musical originally, like the bit at the beginning of the Ländler. Certainly not directly anyway. Which is interesting. But they do remind me a bit of the musical in that they're a bit loose, for lack of a better word. Cutting those scenes down a bit definitely tightens the script a bit, and I think that's a good thing. And that's everything I've got for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Have you heard of any of these deleted scenes before? Do you know any that I might have missed? Because if I missed enough, I could make another video talking about these. Do you think it was a good idea that these were cut, or do you wish you could have seen them? Honestly, the thing I like most about the deleted scenes is that I can work them into fanfiction. Or in the case of the Liesl and Rolf scene, already have. I wrote that back in 2015, during the golden age of Sound of Music fanfiction. Shameless plug. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my video next week. So long, farewell!